Okay, we are live.
Message so I can shoot it out.
Yeah.
Maybe I can do that here.
Okay, just sent you the text. Oh.
What is up, Nathaniel? How you doing, brother?
What's up, Nathaniel?
I did. He's a Nathaniel. You're a Bears fan, right? If I remember correctly. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks. Yeah, I know. Thanks about. Sorry, your sympathy for our Raiders lost.
The Nick
Yeah.
Foles era has begun.
Interesting stuff over there in Bears land. They're undefeated, yet they switch quarterbacks.
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, if you would have watched, well, at least they're not the Falcons.
This is true. Losing fans.
Did they have fans in the first place?
They do. They do. I know a super fan by the Falcon Bird Lady, and she loves her Falcons, no matter how good or bad they are.
Are you ready to get started, Mr. Reitzel?
I am not. Hold on. I just want to tweet something out here that we are on. There we go. Let me go over to the Fandom Podcast Network as well. If you're not following us on Fandom Podcast Network Twitter, please do.
Adam O'Brien, don't try to jump on the Raiders bandwagon.
All right. And let me also do one more thing on the Facey Bookies. All right.
Just retweet the Facey Bookies.
All right. And tag old Kyle there. There we go. And post. Okay. All right. That's right, Adam. The Raider rugby team. Yep.
Stick to your Broncos. Oh, wait.
There's a Broncos team somewhere in Australia too, if I remember correctly.
He's posted several things about that.
Yeah, so. Yeah.
Well, are you ready to talk some football?
I am. Even though our team lost, I am.
Yeah, I just forewarning for those who might be streaming, I might be a little unbearable for about the first 10 minutes of this show.
Just the first 10 minutes?
Well, yeah, just.
I want to see a Christian Okoye jersey. I want to see some throwbacks. Okay.
If I could find some throwbacks that were the proper size, every time I go to,
because then you're going to be mistaken for these bandwagon Chiefs fans that have jumped on there.
I know.
Only wear the Mahomes jersey.
I can't even find a Tony Gonzalez jersey in the proper size right now.
You're not looking in the right place. That's why.
The Chiefs store, Fan Addicts. Anyway. Let's get started with the end. Oh, actually, before we do that, if I don't do this, nobody's going to hear anything. Now we can. In 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the Endzone, a all football podcast here on the Fandom Podcast Network. Of course, now exclusive to the Fandom Podcast Network YouTube channel. It is a very good week, sports day for me, Kevin.
That's right. Yeah, your football team did well, but someone else did well, huh?
Yes, my hockey team, the Tampa Bay Lightning, have won the Stanley Cup. It was a
Hold
long
on,
night.
hold on a sec. Was this one of those things where, like, if a tree fell down in the woods, would you hear it? If someone won a Stanley Cup in an empty stadium, would they know?
Yeah, trust me, because they made a pretty big deal about it in Edmonton. It's like, hey, at least the Stanley Cup's being presented in Canada for the first time in how long, even if it is an American team winning it. But no, it's 20 for all the bad of 2020. It's been a pretty good sports year for me. Chiefs won the Super Bowl. Lightning win the Stanley Cup. The Tampa Bay Rays are the number 1 seed in the American League playoffs.
Wait, what's the Razor? What? Are you making up teams now? What's going on?
It's a baseball. I know nobody watches baseball anymore, but
What? What team?
The Tampa Bay Rays.
Oh, I thought you said Razor, and I'm like,
No,
what's the Razor?
The Rays.
Okay, Tampa Bay Rays. Okay, gotcha.
I know you don't follow baseball that much, but I know you're a Dodgers fan, and the Dodgers had quite the record in the shortened baseball season.
This is true. Yes.
So, but we are here to talk professional football.
Shout out to the chat. Can we do that real quick?
Yeah.
Adam O'Brien, of course, host of one of our coolest shows on the Fandom Podcast Network, Lethal Mullet. What's going on, brother? And of course, Nathaniel. What's going on, dude? Also big Stargate fan. He's a big Cubs fan too, but he also likes the Bears and he also likes the Patriots. Kind of a family thing going on there.
I'm sorry for him. They're about to get Mahomes. I'm just saying.
Man, check out the cockiness on this guy. Or, excuse me, that guy. Oh wait, that guy.
Who knows? You're making like how he throws the ball. Nobody knows where his arm's going to be.
Right. Yeah, that's it.
I need to do a shout out too, though, Kevin.
What's that?
I got to give a birthday shout out to my dad.
Yay, Mr. Don Wagner. How's he doing?
He's doing pretty good. I think him and mom went out for a little birthday dinner. We did a little something for him this weekend, family wise. But with all the fun stuff going on, it's a little hard to get things going.
Does he miss his illegitimate stepson Raider fan? I was wondering if he missed me at all. Does he? Does he remember me? Yeah.
Well, he said something about what Raider Witness Protection Program where you go to disappear.
Yeah. No, we're not doing that. No matter how bad we are, we'll be in your face.
Everybody in the chat just left, by the way, Kevin. So, okay, well, let's get started. We got a lot of things to talk about here. Of course, this is the Endzone here on the Fandom Podcast Network, and you can find the Fandom Podcast Network all kinds of places, starting with our master feed at fpnet.podbean.com. That's where you can find all the audio podcasts of the Fandom Podcast Network, but they're also here on our new YouTube channel. Come visit YouTube, subscribe so you get notified when we go live like this, and you can see the Baby Yoda behind Kevin because that's much cuter than either one of us. I mean,
this is true. Be realistic. Raider Baby Yoda, he's very popular.
You got that? We are now officially on all major podcast catchers because the Fandom Podcast Network, as of 2 days ago, is officially on Pandora now.
Woohoo! So we can now officially say on all major podcast platforms.
Exactly.
Nice. Now I don't have to say Stitcher, Podbean, Google Play, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Tuned In, Amazon Music. I don't have to say that anymore, right?
I don't know, but you said it kind of cool there. Of course, too, if you want to follow us on social media, you can visit our Fandom Podcast Network Facebook page where we try to keep you updated with all the fandom news and reviews that it's going on there. Of course, you can email us directly at fandompodcastnetwork@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram at Fandom Podcast Network or on Twitter at FanPod Network. I'm Kyle. You can follow me on Twitter at AKyleW or on Instagram, AKyleFandom. Kevin, I think everybody knows where you are on social media, but why don't you give them a reminder?
Yes, I am on Twitter and Instagram at Spartan_Phoenix. And I just want to say hi to Carl Nordstrom, who's a Pats fan. By the way, Carl, thank you for that butt kicking. I had to wear a special O-ring just to sit in this chair. So thank you.
Yeah, have those ready for the Patriots fans next week.
He's a Pats fan. There you go.
They're gonna need him next week. That's all I'm saying.
It'll be interesting.
Of course, TeePublic, we've got all the gear of the Fandom Podcast Network, whether it's t-shirts, hoodies, pillows, mugs, stickers, laptop cases, phone cases, tapestries, all kinds of crazy stuff at teepublic.com. Just go to teepublic.com, search for the Fandom Podcast Network, or any of the titles of the great shows here, and you'll find the gear for that show. And of course, we love the reviews, especially the iTunes reviews. We love those 5-star ones, but we love them in general because, as always, we're striving to make better podcasts to feed your ears. Kevin, you got a shout out.
Hold on. Do we love them in blue, or do we love them in red, or was it mostly blue? I don't remember.
Most of all, you love them in blue.
Thank you. All right.
I'm
Did
highly
anybody
disappointed
get
in
that
you.
reference? Did anybody get that reference besides us?
I'm highly disappointed you didn't remember that.
Yes, I got a shout out. I want to give a shout out to a Facebook friend of mine, Alejandro Torres. He is a big Titans fan, super fan, and he has been doing something very cool for other super fans. He's an artist himself, and he does these cool toys. Azul Grande, as he calls himself here, but he does the Tazco toys, where he custom makes figures out of what looks like kind of like a PVC foam that's very stuff like that. And so a lot of super fans have been ordering these from him, and you get on a little waiting list, and then he makes them and he sends them out to you. And I got mine in the mail today. I got my Raider Nerd figure in the mail today, custom made. Check out this little guy.
That is very cool. That is
look at that. Isn't that neat? Love that.
It's missing its accessory though.
Well, I do know where I can get one at Target.
Yeah.
Get a little baby Yoda in there as well. Mm-hmm. But I just want to give a shout out to him. And also to Alejandro recently, he about a little while ago, he got in a car accident and he got hurt pretty bad, but he's back. He's healing up now. And I also got some masks from him, and he threw some extra Raider masks in here. So I just want to say thank you, Alejandro, very, very much. Cool little certificate of authenticity as well, which I do appreciate. And it was funny. He sent me a message. I said, he was messaging me back and forth. He says, you know what, of all the Raider fans that I did figures for, yours was the least scariest.
I would believe that. That's for sure.
But he did great work, and thank you very, very much. Appreciate it, man.
Yep. So Kevin, let's talk about week 3. Let's run through the scores here real quick. Let's start with Thursday night, because the Dolphins beat the Jaguars 31-13. It was Miami's first win by 10 points since 2017. That's kind of sad.
That is sad. Did anyone watch that game besides Dolphins and Jaguar fans?
Oh, fantasy football fans who might have had like Gardner Minshew or Robinson.
This is true.
Robinson playing well. Undrafted rookie playing pretty well for the Jaguars. The running back.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yep.
Kevin, if there's a couple of things you can count on in 2020, it's COVID, riots, and the Atlanta Falcons finding a way to blow a football game.
This is true. Yeah, Bears beat them 30-26. There you go, Nathaniel. Yeah.
Yep. And the Bears also have started officially the Nick Foles era.
What happened? I missed that.
It's called.
Excuse me. I missed the details why that happened.
Because Trubisky was playing terrible in the first half. Atlanta was up 16-0, and then I think it was like 20-something-10. And after the first drive of the second half, Trubisky just looked awful. Nagy made the change, and Foles led him to a comeback.
So the Trubisky era is probably officially over. He will now be known as a backup and maybe a journeyman player. What do you say, Nathaniel?
Yeah. I think he's probably thinking good riddance.
Yeah. By the way, Adam wants to see a Kyle the Chief fan T-shirt on TeePublic. Just saying.
Yeah, not happening. Nobody wants my face on their chest. But in a very exciting game, and Josh Allen continues to roll. The Bills beat the Rams 35-32. Kevin, the Browns beat the Washington football team. You were talking about if something happens with the Stanley Cup. Does a football game happen if nobody cares?
But by the way, Josh Allen, man, my God.
Yeah.
Raiders got to play him next week. I'm not looking forward to this guy.
Yeah. He's killing everybody right now. The Titans go 3-0 with a 1-point victory over the Vikings. I don't know what's wrong with the Vikings. We'll skip the next game. We'll get to that in a little bit. The what was left of the San Francisco 49ers annihilate the New York Giants.
Yeah. Yeah. Even the second string 49ers injured players did well, but I don't think the Giants are in it this year. They've quit.
Yeah, I think so.
All
The
New York
Bengals.
teams.
Did the Bengals and the Eagles kiss their sister? They finished in a tie.
I was watching that. I'm like, come on, it's overtime. I'm out. I was just
Yeah.
done. And then
Yeah.
the next day I was just like, or later I was just like, who won that game? Tie? What?
Yeah.
Nobody
Are the
wanted
Steelers? Yeah. Are the Steelers back, Kevin? Because they're 3-0, and they've been kind of rolling some people.
Yeah,
here.
and they got a good defense. Yeah, those are one of those teams. Yeah, the Steelers are always consistent though. Even when they lost Roethlisberger, they were competitive. I mean, come on.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I have to bring this up. The Colts beat the Jets, but here's the kicker. The Colts offense didn't even need to show up for this football game. The Colts defense outscored the Jets offense.
Yes. Yeah, I started the Colts defense in a couple of leagues, and they didn't help me win, but they definitely made me decide to keep them a little bit longer.
Yeah. Panthers beat the Chargers. Good for Teddy Bridgewater. We love him around here. Lions upset the Cardinals. Getting Kenny Galladay back was a big help for the Lions. Okay, this is the stat line of the week, Kevin, in the Buccaneers-Broncos game. Mike Evans, 2 receptions, 2 yards, 2 touchdowns.
How's that possible?
It's 2 1-yard receptions. That's it. 2-2-2. Deuce is wild, man. Deuce is wild.
That's good. Yeah.
And what have been probably one of the most entertaining games of the week. The Seahawks beat the Cowboys 38-31. Russell Wilson doesn't live on this planet anymore.
Yeah, apparently he's thrown more touchdowns than the entire other teams from the NFC West.
Yeah. And then on Sunday night, the Packers beat up on the Saints. The Saints just don't look like the same team, Kevin. I'm going to say outside of Alvin Kamara.
Yeah.
So, well, let's hit the rewind.
Hold on. We got to give credit to the Packers here, though, man. The Packers. I mean, Aaron Rodgers ain't messing around. He's good.
Well, you think the Packers might have realized if we draft this quarterback with our number one overall pick, it might put a chip on Aaron Rodgers' shoulder, and we'll get angry at Aaron Rodgers again.
Nah, you don't want to piss off Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Or break up with him.
Yep, exactly. So Kevin, let's rewind and let's go to New England.
Do we have to?
Yeah.
All right.
You guys got Rex Burkheaded.
Yes, we did. We did 3 touchdowns. Yeah.
So now this game was close for a while, and it just seemed like New England kind of started pulling away like late in the first half and the beginning of the second half. What was going on in this game, Kevin?
The Raider defense was doing quite well in that first half, at least the first quarter, and then stuff kind of started to happen. It was a combination of a lot of things. I'm not going to say injuries were all of it, but it didn't help. We were still out. 3 of our starting offensive linemen, Henry Ruggs, didn't play. Abram, remember the guy that slid right into the TV camera there? And apparently he was playing with a chipped shoulder bone, and he was playing hurt. I don't know if you noticed, but Jacobs was limping every time, but he kept playing.
I heard something in pregame that he had a hip injury.
Yeah, he's been playing hurt this whole time. So injuries are not helping us, but it doesn't help too that we turned the ball over 3 times. I think Carr did it twice. And the Jacobs fumble, by the way, it looks like that we have the 2002 playoff NFL referees, because it clearly showed that he recovered that fumble that he did, but they gave it to the Pats.
Know when you play in New England, you know what you're going to get.
But Pats outplayed the Raiders basically, and it was interesting too because our biggest weapon from the previous week was Waller. Waller didn't get any looks from Carr until garbage time in the fourth quarter. So it was almost like the feeling was, it was almost like, okay, so we know Belichick targets the best weapons and takes them out, right?
Yeah, well,
it was almost like they were saying, okay, Waller, we're not going to play you. You're just going to be a decoy because they're going to try to cover you. So we're going to try to spread the ball around, but we're not even going to attempt to throw to you because you're good anyway.
Waller got Belichick.
What's that?
Waller got Belichick.
Well, it was, I think, I'll be honest with you, I think Gruden got Belichick, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's and there was a lot of missed tackles by the Raiders, linemen not staying in their lane, in their alley. Abram got torched too. I don't know if it was him just having a bad game. And then it looks like we lost Arnett for, anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks with a thumb injury. Yeah, it's nasty. What I was saying things look really promising if we stay healthy.
You jinxed it, didn't you?
Well, I wasn't the only one that said that, but things do not look promising now because of injuries. It's bad. Incognito's on IR right now. We don't know when Trent Brown's coming back. It's nasty. But I did want to mention one thing. So our offense scored 34 points the first 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. Our offense, I think, was the one that really failed us in this one. Everyone wants to blame the defense because they gave up 34 points to the Pats. Or was it 38? I can't remember. But the defense just needed to play well enough so the offense can stay and do their thing. And everyone's forgetting, everyone wants to fire our defensive coordinator. They're like, fire. Yeah. They don't realize, though, this is our defense is so young, dude.
Oh, yeah.
And if, Abram, who was in his second season, technically is still a rookie because he only played 40 minutes of that first game. Then he was out the entire last thing.
I'm not criticizing here, but it seems like Abram might be kind of, at least early in his career, a little bit jinxed.
It's hard to say. He loves to hit. And unfortunately, I think he's very aggressive, and I hope it doesn't come back to bite him and damage the rest of his career, because he's got the heart of a Raider and we love him for that, but we got to see what happens though. But everyone wants to fire our defensive coordinator, Paul Gunther, but he's Nick Kukowski also has been out, and he's that guy we got from the Bears, Nathaniel, and Corey Littleton did not show up in this game. He's not stepping up to the money that we paid him. So we got some underachievers and a bunch of young players that are just kind of finding their way. They worked well the first 2 weeks, but with a combination of going up against a Super Bowl coach, many Super Bowl winning Super Bowl coach, but I'm just saying, back off on our on Paul Gunther, guys. You got to let this work for a while, and same thing with Carr. Let him do his thing for a while. Let's see what happens. Let me evaluate later down the line.
Yep. So, Kevin, we're going to move on to Monday Night Football. The as everybody was saying, the early game of the year. And all week, I have had to hear the media talking heads saying, the Chiefs aren't right. They struggled against the Chargers. Even though the Chargers are, for whatever reason, always play them really tough, they just struggled against the Chargers. They don't look like the same team. In fact, some power rankings drop them as low as to number 4 or 5 in the power ranking.
Oh, boo-hoo, 4 or 5. Come on, dude.
No, I've got a bone to pick here, and I'm gonna pick my bone.
Okay.
So I'm watching ESPN Monday NFL Countdown. I like the crew. You got Randy Moss. He's always entertaining. You got a few Susie Colbert. You got Steve Young. You got a few others.
Randy Moss knows how to take a paycheck. That's for sure.
That's true. But you know what? They do their weekly pick contest for Monday night. They all pick the Baltimore Ravens to win the football game.
Kyle,
I think yes.
Kyle, you yourself said you would not be surprised if the Chiefs came away with a loss.
I know, because that's respect to Baltimore. That's respect to Baltimore.
Both teams were looking very good and very strong going into that.
Now, let's talk about the ramifications after this game, Mr. Reitzel, or the game. What time did you turn it off because you were tired of seeing all the new toys?
I think I turned it off right before. Was it before halftime? I think I turned it off before halftime. Yeah.
The Baltimore Ravens were never in this football game.
No, I saw that.
Patrick Mahomes said enough is enough, and he just toyed with the Ravens the entire game. The only reason why the Ravens even kind of made a little bit of comeback is because the Chiefs went for it on 4th down on the 50-yard line, and then they had a fumble.
Can I do a quick impression?
Yeah.
Who's this? Who's that?
That would be MVP Patrick Mahomes, Super Bowl MVP Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in the game.
Dude was counting off his fingers on how many touchdowns that he threw against Baltimore last night.
Yes, and not only that, you remember Patrick Mahomes fell to number 4 on the NFL top 100 player list this year when they put him up there.
Excuse
They
me,
had
fell?
well, yeah, they had 3 other players higher
He's
than
in
him
the
on
top 5, dude. That's all right.
he should if you watch
You're bitter that he's not number 1, right? Like
he should have who would you have put over Patrick Mahomes? Yes, I am bitter.
I gotcha. So, anyway, sorry, go ahead. I had another point I wanted to make, but you finished the game recap. Go for it.
I was thoroughly impressed by what I saw from Kansas City. I mean, but especially on the defensive side of the football, they shut down the Ravens. The Ravens didn't even make it inside the 10-yard line until the third quarter. They only had 1 touchdown for most of the game, and that was a kick return for a touchdown. Lamar Jackson had his runs. He's so fast and so escapable. That's going to happen. But they pretty much shut down a Baltimore team that was just rolling people for the first 2 weeks of the season.
You know, NFL Live today, I watched it.
Mm-hmm.
It should have just been called Chiefs Live. That's all they talked about was last night's game.
Because
all they talked about, maybe 5 minutes on Russell Wilson. Mm-hmm. And, they might mention, but all they talked about was Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. All they talked about.
Because that was a statement win.
Not only was it a statement win, there were some plays that Andy Reid was pulling out that were just, people were like, like that lineup I got to give it to them because this was really cool. But that play where the offensive lineman checked in to say that he was an eligible receiver to the refs, but he did it behind the wall of offensive linemen that was blocking the view to the Ravens defense.
Yeah.
And then he went, I don't know if you noticed this, and then he walked back and he grabbed Patrick Mahomes' like towel so he can wipe his hands off and then patted him on the back. And then they set 3 wide receivers in like an I formation on the left side. And like the Ravens and everyone was going like, what the hell's going on? And then like, the offensive lineman was like, held up the one guy and then ran past him. And that big dude scored the touchdown.
So you want to hear a fun stat about that, Kevin? This is actually Eric Fisher is the player who caught the touchdown. He was the number 1 overall pick for the Chiefs. I want to say it's probably about 8 to 10 years ago now. He is the first number 1 overall pick to catch a touchdown since Keyshawn Johnson. But no, this was a statement win. Anybody who had any doubts about who the best team in the NFL is right now, their questions should have been answered after Monday night.
You know what I see happening here? And I think it's interesting. We're seeing the new Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady rivalry. And Mahomes is Brady and Lamar Jackson is Manning. And I guarantee you, because it's becoming such good television, and now the fact that Lamar's gone on saying that the Chiefs are our kryptonite, blah, 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 they're going to find a way to make sure you guys play each other, not just during the playoffs, but during the regular season for the next 10 years.
ESPN already said that on the schedule next year because the AFC West is playing the AFC, that division that Baltimore's in. So they will play again in Baltimore next year.
Yep. So just it's going to happen. So anyway.
Yeah. No, I loved everything I saw. I loved how they worked in Clyde Edwards-Helaire. There was a great kind of screen pass play with Helaire where they just created this like lane for him that Patrick Mahomes threw the ball straight through this lane for him. And he caught it and he got like a 20-yard gain out of it. Tyreek Hill had an amazing touchdown catch, but he does this once a game, Kevin. And Patrick Mahomes threw a 50-yard pass that was basically flicking his wrist for down the McCole Hardman touchdown. And I know this is hard for you to hear. I know. This is the Kevin.
I'm just waiting for you to finish this up so we can get to other stuff, man. You've got a once in a generation player, and you should be happy. You should be excited. Your team and your coach and the whole franchise is in a very good place right now, and you should definitely enjoy this.
But there is one other thing I want to highlight. There's a couple of Chiefs rookies. No, there's a couple of Chiefs rookies who are playing really good. Ladarius Seed and Mike Dana. And they this is where they need to fill in some holes. I'm glad to see the rookies stepping up. but I'm happy. It was a great win on to New England. Speaking of
New
which,
England is New England going to?
yeah, New England's going to Kansas City.
Okay.
But let's talk a little league news, Kevin, because it got serious today because the Titans and Vikings have a serious COVID scare going on.
Are they playing each other next week?
No, they played each other this past week.
Oh, this past week. Okay, gotcha. Duh. That's what I was wondering. Okay,
Um,
so some COVID-ish stuff happened. Okay.
Yeah.
I wonder if it had anything to do with the hotel that they stayed at, or what's going on there.
They haven't really confirmed yet, but the Tennessee Titans have closed their facilities until Saturday after 3 players and 5 team personnel members tested positive for the coronavirus, the NFL announced Tuesday. 3 players, starting nose tackle DaQuan Jones, long snapper Bo Brinkley, and practice squad tight end Tommy Hudson all tested positive for the coronavirus. Because they played the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday, the Minnesota Vikings have also closed down their facilities right now. As it stands, the Titans are supposed to play the Steelers on Sunday, and the NFL is saying that game right now will play as scheduled. But this is our first real legitimate coronavirus scare for the NFL.
Well, everyone's going to go through the testing, and then whoever's tested positive, they're obviously going to be quarantined with not positive, be quarantined and stuff. So they just got to go through all the testings again. And the people that are tested positive just got to stay away and keep them quarantined. So, I mean, if players are getting hit here, next man up,
Yeah, exactly. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Potential big free agent signing. The Houston Texans are looking at signing Earl Thomas, Kevin. This is a bizarre situation because he was with the Ravens and got cut, and it seemed like it was the cut from everything I heard on stories was the Ravens were very happy Earl Thomas was no longer in the locker room.
Yeah, I was hearing a lot of Earl Thomas talk through the Raider talk shows because we were wondering if we were going to bring him into the fold, and we had freed up some salary cap space right before the season started, wondering if that was going to happen. And I think the reason why he didn't get picked up was because either he didn't want to kind of work or there's some personality issues. And one reason or the other, the Raiders did not decide to pull that trigger, but it looks like Texans are.
Yeah. There was some, like I said, the Ravens seemed like they were glad to see him go. And I know he had his issues when he was in Seattle, especially later on in his career. So
yeah,
this might be just something
I think he's a tough teammate. That's the impression that I get.
Yeah, that's the impression I'm getting too. But
I don't know if it's a diva thing or if he's just a jerk or what. I don't know all the details, but there's he's rubbing people the wrong way.
Yeah. Normally I wouldn't talk about Denver Donkey news, Kevin, but a couple of things here that I think are just fun. First of all, did you see what they did in their stands for the game on Sunday against the Buccaneers?
Yes, apparently they got the entire cast of South Park in the stands. Oh, that was good. That was good.
Yeah, that was good. But I think this is kind of fun. The Broncos are going to start quarterback Brett Rippon on Thursday night against the Jets. Brett Rippon is former Redskin Super Bowl winning quarterback Mark Rippon's nephew.
That's cool.
This is just kind of cool. He looked pretty good against the Bucs too.
Is it because of injury? Why is he starting? I didn't catch that news.
Because Driscoll looked terrible against the Bucs, and when Rippon came in, the team just seemed to respond more. Drew Lock is saying that he might be back as soon as next week, but
gotcha.
We'll see. Apparently, they love him in Denver. They were raving about him during the entire Bucs game. How much Denver loved him. So. But hey, I think it's always cool when we get a kind of generational thing going on.
It's true. Mark Rippon was a fun player.
Yeah, he was one of those players that just kind of came out of nowhere. Had that couple of big seasons and disappeared again. The 49ers just keep losing players.
Hold on, this player though, shouldn't he just retire?
Yeah. This guy has no. If you were talking about the definition of bad luck, it's this guy.
Yeah, cursed player, can't stay healthy.
And he's a class act too. That makes you same. But Jordan Reed, who had signed with the 49ers to be the backup to George Kittle in the second tight end in their offense, ended up getting the starting job last week because of the Kittle being hurt and had a huge game, Kevin. He had 100 yards receiving, a couple touchdowns.
He's one of those people I just stopped drafting in fantasy leagues because he just could never stay healthy.
Yeah. Well, he's going to be out 68 weeks with a severe ankle issue. I saw when he got hurt, and I was actually glad to hear he didn't tear his Achilles because that's what I thought he did.
Yeah.
I think they really need to relook at that turf in that stadium.
Yeah.
So now, Kevin, one of your fantasy favorites is going to be out for a couple of weeks. Chris Carson. What's interesting about this story is apparently a lot of people in the league are really upset calling it the play he got injured on a very dirty play.
I did not see the play, so you'll have to explain it to our watchers.
He was tackled around the legs, but then the Dallas defender who tackled him kind of rolled his knee.
Ah, gotcha.
Which has caused it. Luckily, only a knee sprain. So they're saying he's probably going to be out 1 or 2 weeks. But I mean, Carson was having a great start to the season for the Seahawks.
Yep, I drafted him in 3 or 4 leagues. Yep.
Another injury for the Seahawks too, and this one could be for a bit. They traded for New York Jets safety Jamal Adams, the All-Pro, right before the season started.
They gave up some picks for that one, man.
Yeah, this was like Khalil Mack level amount of picks.
Yeah, it was like a couple of first-round picks, and yeah, it was crazy. They gave up more than the Raiders did for Mack. Yeah. It was crazy.
He's going to be out for probably a few weeks. He's got a pretty severe groin injury going on. So all I got to say is ouch. Yep. So. Kevin, you mentioned it earlier too. Your first round pick, Chris Arnett.
Yeah, Arnett got hurt. He was playing pretty well for a rookie, and looks like he's going to be out for up to 6 weeks. He's seeing a thumb specialist. We'll see what happens, but it sucks.
Yeah. The Eagles are a mash unit. Dallas Goedert, their backup tight end, is going to probably be out a few weeks after fracturing his ankle. The Broncos, I legitimately feel bad for them. They just put Elijah Wilkinson on their injured reserve. That's their 5th starter to go on injured reserve and the 11th player overall on their roster to go on injured reserve. They are getting manhandled. But, luckily
I know how that feels.
Yeah.
Our injuries are piling up.
Yeah. But luckily, we didn't have quite the injuries of last week, at least.
The problem is people are still injured, so it's like, but the bigger names get most of the attention, but it's like no one's talking about the injuries that certain teams have that are just killing them. Trust me, I know that.
Yeah, but we're going to take a quick break here. That kind of wraps up the news, and when we come back, we're going to preview Week 4 of the NFL season, and of course, it's going to be the time for that wonderful signature of the End Zone, the greatest mediocre fantasy football advice on the internet. So bear with us. We're going to take a little break and tell you what else is going on around the Fandom Podcast Network.
Thank you for listening. We hope you're enjoying this podcast. We like to continue to feed your ears by inviting you to listen to the Fandom Podcast Network and all of the other awesome shows we have to offer. It starts with our flagship show, Culture Clash, our weekly pop culture news podcast. Bloody Kings, our Highlander podcast. Couch Potato Theater, our podcast celebrating our favorite movies. Time Warp, the Fandom Flashback podcast discussing a year in movies and our favorite pop culture topics. Endzone, the NFL podcast. Good Evening, an Alfred Hitchcock podcast. Union Federation, our Star Trek and Orville podcast. Hair Metal, the 80s and early 90s rock metal podcast. Type 40, our Doctor Who podcast. Lethal Mullet, a 1980s and 90s action film podcast. What a Piece of Junk, a Star Wars podcast. And our newest show, Making Treks, a new Star Trek podcast with a deep dive into the final frontier with host Mark Newbold and Adam P. O'Brien. You can enjoy all of these great Fandom Podcast Network shows on our master feed at fpnet.podbean.com. Fandom Podcast Network is also on Apple Podcast, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, Spotify, and iHeartRadio. You can also find us on Facebook under Fandom Podcast Network. You can also email us at fandompodcastnetwork@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram and Twitter under Fandom Podcast Network. Thank you for listening, and remember, respect others and enjoy your fandom.
And welcome back to the End Zone. it's time to take a preview of week 4. But Kevin, I got a quick question to ask you. I am having a hard time finding preview lines for the NFL because everything's legal this year.
Preview lines?
Like getting the lines on. We had some really good websites last year. We would get lines, the lines for the games and the list of games.
Oh, right. Are you looking in the right places?
Yeah, the one we used has disappeared.
The
They only give me
football
the
locks one?
Yeah. So I'm just curious if you had noticed that, but I do have a list thanks to ESPN. So let's take a quick look. Thursday, Kevin, it's time to take a nap because it's the Broncos versus the Jets.
Broncos and Jets. Who's going to watch that game? Kyle, let's do a podcast instead. I don't want to watch that game.
We can watch real football.
By the way, Kyle, you're looking in the wrong place. The football locks line is up there. So yeah.
Okay. Interesting Sunday lineup though. The Colts at the Bears is going to be interesting, I think.
Indianapolis is favored by 2.5.
Yeah.
I got the line in front of me.
Yeah. Jacksonville Jaguars at Cincinnati Bengals. Yeah, okay, if a tree falls. The Cleveland Browns at the Dallas Cowboys. Go Browns. Browns first time over 500 in like 5 years. They're 2-1.
Yeah, let's not get too excited though.
Yeah,
not just yet.
The New Orleans Saints go to the Detroit Lions. This could be interesting because if the Saints team that showed up the last couple of weeks shows up in Detroit, they could be in trouble. I'm just saying. The Saints just don't impress me right now.
Or the Raiders played them well in week 2.
No,
either way.
No.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
That's not a knock on the Raiders. I didn't like what I saw from the Saints against the Packers either. Pittsburgh Steelers at Tennessee Titans, battle of 3-0 football teams. That's going to be a game.
Pittsburgh favored by 2.
The Seahawks at the Dolphins. Okay, Russell Wilson gets to have a day off and probably throws 8 touchdowns.
Seattle's favored by 6.5 only. Does that surprise you?
I think Vegas gets afraid of getting to those big number things this year with COVID and everything like that.
Look at it's a couple of games where they're not afraid of that. So yeah.
The Chargers are coming to Tampa Bay.
I like how you said that. Tampa Bay. I like that. That's good. That's good.
Bucks are favored. What I'm looking at is by 7. The Baltimore Ravens are going to take their aggressions out on the Washington football team. We might never see the Washington football team.
13.5 the Baltimore's favored by. So yeah.
The Washington football team might never be heard from again. The Arizona Cardinals at the Carolina Panthers. Kyler Murray's fun to watch.
Yeah.
2 0-3 disappointments. The Minnesota Vikings at the Houston Texans. But I want to say this real quick about the Houston Texans. The NFL did not like them. Their first 3 games were the home opener for Kansas City, then Baltimore, and then the Pittsburgh Steelers. The schedule maker didn't do them any. The schedule maker did not do them any favors. If the Giants got annihilated by the 49ers second unit, what are the Rams going to do to them?
I don't want to ever hear that anyone has had a worse schedule than the Raiders did last year. Remember, we didn't get to play a home game for like almost 2 months. Remember that?
Oh yeah.
Remember that? And we had to go to England as well. Yeah. But yeah, that sucks.
The Patriots at Kansas City. Kansas City's favored by a touchdown from what I see here.
I'm surprised they didn't let's move that up to the night game, San Francisco at home against Philadelphia. Who wants to watch that now that we got these guys?
Yeah, exactly. Is it too early in the season to use the flex yet?
Yeah,
that's what NBC was saying. Your Buffalo Bills at the Las Vegas Raiders, Kevin.
Did you just say your Buffalo Bills?
I'm sorry. I meant the Buffalo Bills at your Las Vegas Raiders.
Yeah, Buffalo's favored by 3. Yeah.
What do you think of this? I mean, I know you talked a little bit about you were scared about Josh Allen, but I think this is a winnable game for you guys. Is Ruggs going to be back? We are
limping big time. We're not just limping, but we're being rolled in gurneys right now. It's
okay.
If it weren't for our injuries, I would say we have a good chance to win this game. But I have a feeling that Buffalo's going to win this game because I just don't feel good about the health of my team right now.
I will say this about the Monday night game. I don't think we have to worry about the Falcons blowing a lead.
Because they won't have one.
Exactly. Aaron Rodgers is playing out of his mind right now. It's real quick. I want to address this. Is the quarterback? Does it seem like the elite quarterbacks are just playing at an entirely another level than they even did last season? You think about how Mahomes is playing, Lamar Jackson is playing, Aaron Rodgers is playing, Russell Wilson is playing, Josh Allen seems to have gone up to another level as well. There's some amazing quarterback play.
Well,
right now.
I think Josh Allen is one of those players that is on the verge of becoming elite because of his numbers that he's doing. Russell Wilson's just in another plane right now. He's, of course, along with Patrick Mahomes. So yeah, it's, you think, the only exception right now is what's happening with Drew Brees in New Orleans. Drew Brees is still a good quarterback. He's still in that discussion. His team's just not on all.
Yeah.
So.
No, I get you. So, but let's talk some fantasy football, Kevin. As it's time once again for the Endzone's trademark mediocre fantasy football advice. But let's start with the Gardner Minshew man crush of the week.
You gotta project that a little bit more. I'm not feeling it from you.
The Gardner Minshew man crush of the week.
Now we're talking.
So Kevin, do you have a pick? Because I didn't.
I do actually. It's funny because Nathaniel in the chat has kind of tipped the hat on that, and I drafted this gentleman, and the gentleman I speak of is Green Bay Packers wide receiver Alan Lazard. Am I saying his name? Is it Lazard?
Yeah, he stepped up. He had a game. He stepped up because no Devontae Adams in that game for the Green Bay
had
Packers.
6 receptions, 146 yards, and a touchdown, and scored in our ESPN thing 32 points. He did an awesome job, and I think he was on my bench.
Yeah, isn't that how that goes?
I think I played him in another league though, and he paid off for me. But that dude just showed that he is ready to be the number one receiver of that team. So yeah.
So did you have a runner up?
No, I just went with him.
Okay. Well, I am going ultimate homer.
Hold on, real quick. Wasn't there a kicker that just scored a crap load of points? I forgot who it was.
Steven Gostkowski hit 6 field goals.
Yeah, for the Titans, right?
Correct. Yeah.
I'm going to give that a runner up because that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead. You're going to be Homer. Go for it.
I'm going to be Homer. Patrick Mahomes, 24-31, 385 pass yards, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, and 1 rush touchdown. He scored like 89 points in our ESPN fantasy league.
Yeah, he did.
We made a rule a couple of years ago that we had to stop mentioning Patrick Mahomes, but the fact he did this.
This is your one time. Yeah. He's your man crush. This is your one time.
Yeah. Well, and the fact he did it against one of the best defenses in the league too. I was legitimately like, wow, I can't believe Baltimore didn't play tougher than that, didn't show up like this. I mean, it was scary. But yep, Patrick Mahomes. But runner up, Kevin, I have Dalvin Cook, 22 carries, 181 yards, and a touchdown. This guy was carrying the load for Minnesota, who should have won that game. Kirk Cousins, we might have to start talking about the fork in the back of Kirk Cousins at some point here soon.
Yeah.
So
is he on his final year for that 3-year contract he got?
Yeah, but they gave him a 2-year extension. I
missed that. Okay.
Yeah. But we do have some waiver wire pickups too. If you're looking for somebody out there because of injuries or you're just that mad at your team. I'm liking Justin Herbert of the Chargers. He's throwing some nice plays if you need a flex quarterback for a week.
I'd rather go with Gardner Minshew. He's on a lot of stuff, but yeah, I mean, I guess you need him in a pinch. We'll see.
Yeah, I think the guy who's probably being picked up left and right now, Justin Jefferson of the Vikings.
Yeah, wide receiver.
Yeah. A lot of people drafted him and then cut him because he didn't do anything in the first 2 weeks.
Right.
Absolutely exploded for 175 receiving yards and a touchdown this week. There's a tight end out there that's playing pretty well for the Colts, Mo Cox. He's developed a nice rapport with Phillip Rivers.
I like saying his name, Mo Alley Cox.
Mo Alley. The Karate Kid used to say that, Mo Alley. Seattle fans, Carlos
Hold on,
Hyde.
you skipped over a running back here that
Oh, yeah.
beat up on my that beat up on my Raiders.
Yep, the Rex Burkhead, he's probably good for a couple weeks for the Patriots. I don't know when James White is going to come back. And just a shout out to him, last week before Sunday night, about an hour before Sunday night's game, he got informed that his parents were in a severe car crash, lost his dad in that crash, and his mom is still in critical condition. So hope his mom pulls through there.
Yes, definitely. I just want to say Rex obviously torched our defense and played well, but I'm sorry, the Patriots trying to use trying to choose which Patriots running back is going to be consistent.
Forget it.
I'm not even. I'm saying stay away from. I don't care how he could have scored 7 touchdowns against my Raiders. Next week, not going to do it because Belichick doesn't like that. He likes to spread it around. Rex Burkhead won't score a touchdown probably at least like that for like at least a few more weeks, maybe. Yeah. Depends, of course, on White's situation, but all running backs for the Patriots are not consistent fantasy players.
Yeah, no, I won't argue with that at all. But one to watch too, Carlos Hyde, the backup running back for the Seahawks. He's going to get at least a couple weeks of showcase. Kevin, by any chance, did you pick him up in any leagues?
Who is that?
Carlos Hyde, Chris Carson's backup.
I did not. No. Probably should.
So, yeah. Lastly, I'm going to say Scotty Miller of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Chris Godwin looks like he might be out for a few weeks with a bad hamstring. Tom Brady likes Scotty Miller. He could be good for 7-8 points up in a starting position.
Yeah, he built a rapport with Tom there, and when you can do that, that's a good thing.
Yep. Anybody else on the list that I didn't mention, Kevin, that you have your eyeballs on?
Did you mention Braxton Berrios, wide receiver for the New York Jets? Do we really want to go there?
I think the Jets were kicked off of Fantasy Island at the end of last season. I don't think they've ever come back.
Remember Cordell Patterson for the Raiders? Yeah.
Yes.
Chicago.
It's funny, wasn't he? He was with Chicago before he went to the Raiders. So
question though, is Chase Claypool a thing in Pittsburgh?
He is becoming a thing in Pittsburgh. Yes. Now, what ends up happening with Chase Claypool is he doesn't get a lot of receptions, but he's guaranteed to get one of those Big Ben bomb plays every game. So he ends up with at least about 50, 60 yards a game because of that.
That's true. Yeah.
So. Well, how did you do in fantasy football this week, Kevin?
Lost to you. Of course, that was not a big surprise because you had Patrick Mahomes going into Monday night. So yeah. For the ESPN league here, things aren't looking good for me right now. I am 1-2. Kyle, you are 2-1.
And here's the thing about the ESPN league. I was down over 100 points going into Monday Night Football, and I was down about 120, and I almost made the full comeback.
Yeah,
I think I lost 244 to 240.
Jen is living up to her name in the ESPN league, the Beatdown. She and Ojai Zen Raiders Ryan are tied in our Western division at 3-0. They are the only undefeated ones there for the ESPN league there. So yeah. For the I think I won 2 of my 5 or 3 of my 5. I can't remember, but I lost both the CBS and the ESPN ones. Because you beat me 164 to 27. You're at 2-1 right now. I've dropped to 1-2, Kyle. But Vader Nation, Mr. Ken Cruz, by the way, he is at 3-0, and I wanted to give a shout out to Ken Cruz as well. Had me on his podcast. Sith Master Jeff Alexander's at 2-1. Burks Chris Bertram is at 2-1. You're at 2-1 right now. So there's a bunch. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at 2-1. Below Vader Nation at 3-0. I am at 1-2.
Yeah. I won in our CBS league that we had a loss barely in the ESPN league. And in my CBS Sports League, I was just frustrated because I hadn't been impressed with what I saw from Drew Brees fantasy wise. He has maybe been getting me 12 points a week. So I benched him for the Chargers quarterback who got me 19 points, but then Drew Brees had that long pass that Kamara just somehow the Packers forgot to tackle on. And he got like 35 points, which would have been enough for me to win. Instead, I ended up losing by about 4 points because the guy I was playing on Monday night had Clyde Edwards-Helaire, who got just enough points to edge me out.
Well, I still got some waiver wire stuff to do tonight because it is Tuesday, and I know our CBS league is set up a little bit differently because I did it a little hastily. I need to adjust that waiver wire pickup next year with that. But so yeah, I got some claims I'm going to be making.
Oh yeah. Oh, always fine tuning going on in your fantasy football league. But you know what? It's been a fun edition of the End Zone. Next week's gonna be an interesting week. I want to see your Raiders come out and keep doing what they're doing because they have been playing, win or lose, they've been playing respectable football.
And that was one thing. I'm glad you brought that up. One thing I did want to mention was they didn't give up. You didn't see any give up on the game. They kept playing hard, even though they were getting their butts kicked. And so you could see that. So that was nice to see. We're kind of cursed when we go into Foxborough. We don't do well there. And we've only won twice since 1969. So,
and I do need to ask you this, Kevin. And it's actually in all seriousness because I've actually asked a couple other Raiders fans I know. Which is harder? What is it? Are you rooting for the Patriots to knock off the Chiefs, or are you rooting for the Chiefs to knock off the Patriots? Because I know a lot of Raider fans who just like, I hate the Chiefs, but the Patriots hate is just too strong.
You know what? It's for me personally, I really don't care because the Chiefs are the team to beat. And they're going to win the division, and they're going to go deep into the playoffs and possibly get another Super Bowl. And as Raider fans, it sucks to have those expectations. We are just hoping that if we can somehow make a wild card playoff run, get over 500, finish over 500 for the first time since 2016. At this point, personally, I really don't care. I know there's fans that would love to wish injury on certain people. I don't do that. But I hope it's a good game. It would be interesting. It'd be interesting, if the Patriots did win and then there's the Cam Newton thing going on. But even if they did win, you're not going to stop the Chiefs in this division, and I think that the AFC Championship game is going to go through Kansas City. So
yeah. Cam Newton is always concerning to me. I mean, I'm not that guy is just he's like nothing else we have in football. So that's concerning to me. But I go in. It's an Arrowhead. I feel confident. Bring on the Patriots. We have our own issues with the Patriots over the years ourselves. So, but with that, Kevin, it's been a fun edition of the End Zone. Always good to talk a little football with you. And your
thanks again to Alejandro for making my little mini me. Very cool. Thank you, sir. He's so cute. Look at him. Yes. He's so cute.
So again, as always around here, we hope your football team, unless they're the Buffalo Bills or the New England Patriots, but your fantasy team finds a lot of ways to once again get into the end zone. And Kevin's looks like he's about ready to go play some Caddyshack. Have a great football week, everybody.
See you guys.
Find your way into the end zone.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, chat.